Okay,
Sure.
Emery, welcome to Automate All the Things. I'm so excited to have you. Number 50. I know you from a long time. We've kind of known each other since 2012. I'll let you kind of give the backstory into how we met.
Sure. We met in a bar in London. Uh, I'm saying that a little bit tongue in cheek, but my co-founder in the last company had gotten a recommendation from a friend of the super smart guy living in London, just finished his master's, who was looking for a job in tech, and I happened to be in London at the time. So I said, okay, sure, I'll go meet this guy, and we had a conversation over a pint, talked a little bit about work and careers, and here we are 10 years later. Made a great decision in hiring this young whippersnapper. Myself, not far from a young whippersnapper at the time either, and it was a great decision. And here we are automating all the things coming up on a
Yeah.
decade later.
Yeah, no,
So
and as I
pretty
mentioned,
cool.
like Emery was the first person to ever say, "Hey, check out this Zapier thing, and maybe you'll enjoy it, and we could use it at Mozio." And I think what maybe 4 or 5 months later, like 95% of operations at Mozio were ran like probably on Zapier. We're probably one of their top customers in 2014, which was a marketplace of transportation, so helping folks find the right type of transportation for their needs. But with that, Emery, talk like what are we going to do today? So I know that you came to me with a very kind of specific problem. Maybe kind of introduce Stacksi, what the issue is, like what are you trying to solve for, and then we're going to have about 50 minutes to fix it.
Sure. Sounds excellent. So uh, I'll start with what we're doing at Stacksi. I'll talk about what we came to as the problem, and then
Yeah.
let's just jump right into it and automate some things. So Stacksi came out of an automation goal in and of itself. At the previous company, Mozio, we were dealing with security questionnaires from some of our enterprise customers. And if you've had to deal with B2B enterprise sales, you've probably had to answer a security questionnaire, and you know that they are pretty terrible to answer. And I like to say that they are the worst way of assessing a company's security, except for every other way that we have. They're not going away anytime soon. We'd like to be part of the long-term solution to them. But for now, what we're doing is we're helping companies take their existing documentation, their existing policies, and use a combination of NLP and humans in the loop to get those questionnaires answered so that executives, whether that's your CTO, head of engineering, or your head of sales, sales engineering, don't have to waste literally hours every time one of these questionnaires comes through from a customer. So we started this company about 9 months ago. We recently went through Y Combinator's accelerator program, and we've had a decent amount of success so far already. And that kind of brings us to the challenge today, which is we are growing pretty quickly and trying to improve operations every day. And one of those things is around the contracting process. In particular, when we bring on new customers, we need to sign agreements. And if you've ever been in business, you've had to sign an agreement. Uh, the downside of that is that I don't have a great process today for generating those agreements from a template. And I was working on it within Hellosign on its own, working on it within Google Docs kind of on its own. And I was thinking of Aron and this stream and thinking, wow, I bet we could use Airtable to do this. And I bet we could automate this. And I bet Aaron's the person to talk to. And so I literally just, Aaron, a couple of weeks ago, I dropped you a note and said, hey, uh, I want to use Airtable to do this. Can I do it? And you said, sure thing. And so here we are about to automate that contract
Yeah.
generation process
Yeah.
in real time.
Paying you back. This is my way of slowly paying back the not debt I accrued, but the value brought to me. So with that, yeah, let's jump in. So our goal for today is you have, you want to generate an agreement and you want a button that generates. So there's like a process of getting that information to the agreement, and then button generates the agreement, sends it off to the right person, right? And so our goal is to get as quickly as possible to that. So we're going to build out the infrastructure. We're going to build out that automation and the whole loop. And then probably in 45 minutes, I'll kind of give folks like, where do we go from here? How do we scale this out? Okay, so yeah, let's jump in. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with everyone joining on the stream. Emery, you should see my screen as well. And then folks, now you should see my screen. Give me a sec here. There you go. Okay. So as all good things, we're going to start with an Airtable base. So we've got our agenda. Emre, you can't see the agenda. I'm going to read it out to it. So we did the intro, right? So our goal for today is to give you a place both to manage all of your contracting, but also a place where you can send out those contracts, stay in the loop as to where they are, see where they're signed, but also like that agreement, right? We want to end today with like a PDF that you can send out and know whether it's been signed. So we're first going to create an Airtable base. Then we're going to go into Hellosign, set up the template there, and then connect those two pieces together using Zapier. And I'll share some like geeky things that you can do after, just so we keep talking and I can keep improving your process over time. Cool. Also, for folks who come to the stream all the time, check out the new agenda, right? How do we feel about that new kind of step-by-step agenda? I personally think it's really cool, but obviously I think it's cool. Okay, so our first step here, Emre, is to go ahead and set up the Airtable base. How familiar are you with Airtable?
I am an Airtable, not completely new, but consider me an Airtable new.
So Airtable is a relational database, right? What we're essentially going to kind of put in here is this concept of companies, contacts, and orders, right? So I just kind of put out that framework, but I want to first show you where that structure came out of. How did I get to that structure? So let me go ahead and remove the agenda here. And this is the order form that you sent out to me. Right? So this is our end goal. We want to be able to automate the creation of this order form. Now, this is like a really good example of how I like to work, and what I recommend is start with the end goal, right? So our end goal is to create this form that has variable information in it. Whatever system is going to feed this template, well, should have that information, right? That makes sense. That's just like kind of, obvious. And so what you did, and kind of when we prepped, is that you highlighted everything that should come out of our system. So we've got an order number here, right? You've got a company, this concept of customer, company, and then a person that works at that company that we're going to send this order to, what we're going to charge them, right? So I'm just kind of, I hope, I don't know if you're already seeing like buckets we can put into that. So there are things that are specific to the person, like their name, their email, that contact at that company. Then there are things that are specific to the company, right? Like that customer name, Dropbox, Adobe, whatever big company you're going to close now or in the future. An order number that's specific to the agreement. So I'm starting to create like buckets of where the information is going to go. I don't know if does that make sense so far?
Sounds excellent.
Then we've got some like boilerplate stuff, and then we actually just replicate that information. So customer name, the name of the customer, and then a signature and the date that they've signed. Everything else is fixed, right? It's not going to change. So what we need is a system that has all of this information, but that has everything before that, right? So like status, are we sending out the agreement? And then it needs a place where we can create this template and then connect it to Hellosign. So let's go into our Airtable base. So first, let's kind of go ahead and create this company concept, what you call customer. So, what are some pieces of information that you want to track for each of the companies you're speaking to, Emre, right? So obviously we're going to have a name. That's where we're going to pipe in to our contract, but there's probably additional information that you care about.
Right. As you can see, you've got the company, what they're buying potentially, there might be some additional details. We're kind of, what you said here, we're essentially creating a CRM within a mini little CRM within Airtable at this point. So at this point, if I'm creating a CRM, I probably want some sort of stage associated with the company, but maybe that's getting almost a little too far ahead of ourselves. Maybe let's grab the industry. So let's add the industry in here for a given company. I think that's a pretty typical thing that would be useful to us, but also useful to all sorts of other folks.
So what are some of those industries that you normally sell to So right now I'm creating a single select that'll let you kind of create, it's a drop down.
Mm-hmm.
It'll let you select what industry you want. So maybe like technology,
Sure.
more granular.
Sure. Let's say finance, and we can have healthcare, we can have government. Let's start there, and we can always get cuter.
AATT is technology. Cool. Let's give ourselves there. Cool. Okay. I don't want to create too many fields because I think this is like quite familiar to folks, right? So you can have, an address, which would be a single line text, right? So I'm not going to put in my address. So 1 Montreal Street, you can kind of have all that company level information, right? But then there are probably contacts at that company, right? So you may be either talking to one person or multiple people at that company. And you told me you're not very familiar with Airtable. So in Airtable, it's a relational database, right? I know you know what a relational database is. You can essentially say this person works at that company. So I remember we used a different CRM back at our time at Mozio. And this was like a main pain point, is that the company was like a single select. So it was like really hard to find who works at what company. So luckily, when you move to Airtable, that'll be solved, right? So we essentially create a new table with contacts, right? Let me actually go ahead and I've already created one, but let's go delete some fields and kind of start from scratch here, right? So let's put myself as the person, like you're contracting with myself, right? I probably got an email. We're just adding some fields here, acornlet@gmail.com. Right. And then you essentially want to say, okay, what company does this person work at? You can select from your existing companies in the dropdown. So if you add a new company, let's say AATT, number 2, and we create a new contact, Jeff, we can then select whether they're a new company or an existing company. So now there'll be 2 people who work at AATT that you can contact, right? So that's that relational kind of information in place. So what we need for this agreement specifically is a name, right? And that's pretty much it, right? That's kind of the only information you include in that specific agreement. But what other information would you want to know at the contact level, just so we're building this out for you specifically?
Sure. At the contact level, you probably want the position that person's in, right?
Would you want that like a single select or something you type out?
Let's start with this, just a typed out field. And in the future, we can always upgrade it to a
I'm
select
automator
field.
in chief. Just going to give myself that title.
There we go. I was like, well, number 1, something, you need some sort of superlative there.
Okay. Anything else you want to include at the contact level? Right now, we have everything we need for your specific form.
Cool. So we've got name, we've got position, we've got email. I think that's a good start. Let's keep plugging through because we've got a lot to get through.
Okay. So now this is where I think people will struggle in Airtable, right? Or not struggle, but think of, like you said it yourself. You said, should I have a company status? Right? So are your deals, are your agreements at the company level? That's one way of doing it, right? So you can create a pipeline, kind of a status for companies, and it says like, backlog or reaching out, talking, contracting, closed. Clearly, I'm not a salesperson because I don't think those are really good like statuses. I did sell at Mozio. I was pretty bad at it, right? Now, I would not recommend this, right? Specifically for your kind of structure, the way you have these form agreements, you could imagine a world where you have multiple SaaS order forms at the same company, right? So you might be contracting with a specific subset, a specific department at a company, and another department says, oh yeah, we also do this. Could we have a separate agreement, per seat license? And so even just because you have an order form number, I would actually recommend creating a level that is order specific, right? It's just a question of it's a junction table. You say this customer for this contact has this order, and we could have all of the information that's needed in that order in that separate table. Again, this is kind of a preference that I have. I like to believe that like you're almost like a quote builder, right? Maybe you want to, for the same company, have different pricing or different, main points of contact. So whenever you...
Yeah, or you could imagine, there's multiple products that a company buys.
Exactly.
Right?
You can have a products
happens all the
table with different pricing for all those products, and you can still keep that order structure. So let me know in the chat if that's something that's confusing to folks. I know that I really wanted to spend time here. Like, I think an order table would be kind of beneficial here. So let's start building it out. So this should have all of the information that we need. So order number. So we can actually just have an order number. And I learned from you that you should never start your invoices at 0. That's just bad form. So we're going to go, 8431. Let's just do that field for now. And then we're going to have order number, the actual order number. And this is just going to be a number, auto number, right? And so we're just going to create a formula field that is, 00 and order number, right? Save. Boom. That way, as we create more order numbers, it feels like we've done a lot already. We're a big company, right? So I learned that pro tip from you. So order number is what we're going to put in right here. Okay. Customer, that we can have in the linked record, right? AATT. We already have that. So I'm creating a link in each record towards the company and then to the main contact. So the person we're going to send this order to is a linked record as well. Now you might say like, oh, why don't we just use kind of that existing structure? Whereas because you're only going to send it to one, right? So you want to pick out of all the contacts in that company, who you're going to send that order to. So we're going to send it to myself. So we've done this one. We have the contact name. We have the customer name, then service fees. Right now, for me, my understanding is that this is variable to you, right? So you might just be like custom. Yep. So let's say we're going to make it a single line text. Yeah. So actually great question for Matthew. Like, you don't have a traditional product. So how do you structure that? Well, in this case, neither does Emre. So his fees are variable or might depend on what was agreed upon. So you can create a kind of variable field for your fees that is just inputted. So I'm actually going to go ahead and input, this right here that you already had. So $1,000 a month. There we go. We can actually make this a rich text field.
And, I loved your suggestion. If you've got more products, right, you're just simply adding another table here, right? So you've got a table of products, and you can add those products even. If we wanted to go a step further, we could add those products to this this order form. And you could simply add those products into here, and that would be added within the service feeds. You could even assign prices to products, right? So you could have products and prices. You could have them in the same table or different tables. So there's a lot you can do here with what
and you could even
got.
like aggregate multiple products into a single price and then ship that over. So really what I recommend is create an order table and add things or new tables as we go along. So do we have everything we need? So we have the order number, we have the contact name. Hey Raymar, good to see you. Welcome to Automate All the Things. Raymar, big fan, big helper. Appreciate all the work that you do behind the scenes to make this happen. Customer, we have the variable, the name. Okay, so we actually have all of the information. Now, another recommendation I have is when you're working with Zapier and Hellosign, have all of the fields that you need in the table that you're going to pull the information from the record. So we're probably going to need the email, right, of that person we're sending it to. That information currently lives in the contacts table, but we have a connection from order to contact in contact, right? So we can do a lookup field. There you go. And in contact, we're going to go get the email, create field. Okay, what else are we missing here? So I do see a risk of using the linked record. We have the contact name. I think that's okay. We have the order number. I think we can hide the order number. There we go. Okay, I think we actually have every element of this order form. So now we know that we have one record that has all of the information that we need. So let's go ahead and go into Hellosign and just create that template with all of these instead of kind of yellow highlighted. Just that's what we're going to input. So I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of this. And this is going to be our template SaaS order service. I'm just copy pasting. I'm going to remove all of that yellow stuff. But that's essentially telling us where we're going to put information. There we go. Boom. Emre, I'm gonna trust you to like remember where we're gonna put variables because I already forgot. So let's go into.
Let's hope I've done enough of these.
It's a new company, but I'm sure you've sent enough to feel comfortable doing it. Okay.
I'd imagine I could figure
So let's
that
create a
part
template. So we're in Hellosign. Templates are just where you're gonna go ahead and kind of add variables, right? There we go. And we should have template SaaS order form. Select that. That's going to bring it in and tell us, okay, well, can you tell us what's variable in this order form? It takes a few seconds. Oh, there we go. That was faster than I thought. Okay, role title. We're going to have customer. And then it automatically creates a role that is you, the person signing, and the person sending. Right? So we only have 3 people. Okay? And then here you can select what role. Right? So sender is everything we're going to pre-fill when we send. So everything we already know, right? So the sender is all of these yellow things. So first we have the order number. So let's go ahead and boom, order number here. Placeholder text, we're just going to say 7 blah, blah, blah. This is just placeholder. We're going to call this order number. And if we had another follow-up stream, there's an API ID where we can just actually trigger this from Airtable. Okay. Next, so we have the order number. We have the customer name. So anything that you're going to pre-fill that you already know, you select the sender. It's going to be customer name. Merge field, we're going to call this customer name. Boom. Contact, same thing. Gets a little boring after you do it a few times, huh, Emery?
Oh man.
So this is going to be contact name. Contact name. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, you are the sender. So you, yourself, you can do date signed. You're going to send these signed.
Yeah, we need a signature.
Go.
Yep.
Nothing like putting your signature on a stream. As I'm not HD enough, hopefully. Okay, and then this is going to be the customer. They have to go ahead and put their signature in. The name we have, right? We know the name the person signing. You may want to put this variable as well if it's a different person signing, but up to you. For now, let's go ahead and add it as a variable. So we're going to say this contact name. Merge field is contact name. Boom. And then date signed by the customer.
So the only thing I'll make sure that gets in here, Aaron, is the details of the
Oh,
product
right. You're
purchase.
totally right.
There's
Right here.
an additional field if you go up a little bit.
Yeah, totally right.
Yep.
So boom.
They need to know what they're paying for.
There you go. Placeholder text. So this is product offering, I guess. And what do we call this in Airtable?
Sure.
We call this fees. So we'll just call this fees. Okay, what am I missing? Please create a unique field label for all fields you're completing. Okay. Contact name 2. I think I put contact name twice. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So Hellosign doesn't understand that sometimes you'll use the same one in multiple places, but that's okay. We're going to be pre-filling it. Awesome. Let me see in the chat. How are we following? I see a lot of questions. I think we're good to go. Okay. So now with this, let me kind of break this down. So everything in pink is going to be pre-filled from our Airtable base. Now, if your name is Matthew and you're much more organized than I am, you're probably going to make sure that your kind of field names match the merge field names. I didn't do that because I'm terrible at naming fields and making sure my things are organized. But this is free, Emre. You'll have to fix this later. So this is work for you. So everything in pink, we're going to pre-fill. Everything that is already filled out is things we're going to fill out while sending. Blue is what the customer, the end customer, has to do. So literally they'll have to sign. This will be filled out automatically. So this is the ideal, right? So we want them to receive with all of the information pre-filled. Okay, sounds good. Anything to add here before we kind of create this template?
You're doing great.
Yeah.
We're plugging through this.
Awesome. Okay, you can also CC yourself or kind of your co-founder or whatever you want to passively aggressively CC their boss, whatever you want to do, you can go ahead and add it here. We're going to call this stream template AATT. Okay, saving that. Ooh, I have completely forgot about my agenda. We are now at Hellosign Setup. And I think we've done that. So a little late. I got to get used to the agenda, Emre. It's new.
Yeah, you'll learn to automate.
Maybe we could have someone from the audience like drop the agenda or move it up and down eventually. Okay, yep. So now we have like two separate systems. We have our Airtable kind of with all of that information, and then we have this template that's in Hellosign that we want to connect, right? So obviously we're going to connect it. I even wore my shirt. I wore my Zapier shirt today to remind me that we're going to use Zapier. So we're going to use Zapier to go from Airtable to Hellosign and send that contract to the end user. Cool? Makes sense?
Do I need to say that the stream is sponsored by Zapier?
I wish. Zapier, if you're watching this and you want to sponsor the stream, my email is in the stream. Just acornblood@gmail.com. Let me know. I'm a big fan. I don't think they need to sponsor me because I'm going to show it off anyway, right? So like, it's not a huge win for them.
Is this why you went out of sales?
Yes, exactly. Clearly terrible salesperson. But Zapier, if you are watching, I appreciate the sponsorship. Let me know. Cool. Okay. So let's create that app. So essentially, I'm going to actually do like what we want is I'm very gung-ho on the button. I think the button's really cool. I think we should have a button that says when you click that button, go ahead and create a contract for this specific record. So how we do that in Zapier, and I think this was not available. Maybe it was available. I did not know about it when we were creating Zaps together, Emre. But we're going to use as a trigger. It's been a little while. It's been what? 10 years almost. It's crazy. We're going to create a webhook. So essentially, we're going to have Airtable open a URL that's going to send the information over to Zapier to say like, hey, go ahead and send this record, send this information into Hellosign, which Zapier already has an integration for. So I'm going to go ahead and webhooks by Zapier. And folks who come to the stream all the time must be tired of me setting up a webhook in Zapier, but this is my favorite way of creating automations. So we're going to catch a hook. It's going to give us a URL. And let's go ahead and set it up in Airtable. So this is the URL. Oh, agenda's still on screen. Thank you. See? Never tired of webhooks. That's why, Penny, you come back. I appreciate it. If you can't get tired of webhooks, this is the stream for you. Okay, so we're going to copy that URL. We're going to go ahead and add a button field that says send contract. It's going to be a button field. Send contract. And the formula is essentially saying, can folks see it? I think it's nice. Go to this URL, right? And pass in some information from Airtable. So what we're going to go ahead and do is take the URL, add record ID as a variable, right? So we're saying, hey, the record ID is equal to, and then take the Airtable record ID, right? Matthew, if you're just learning about button field, your mind is about to be blown. Button field is the most underrated field in Airtable, in my opinion. I'm a big fan. You can trigger scripts. I'll send you a bunch of streams after this. So we're going to pass in the record ID, and that's going to tell Zapier, this is the record that has all the information that we want to put into Hellosign. Okay, let's go ahead and send contract. It's going to open up a URL, and it's going to say, hey, your webhook worked. There we go. Let's go into Zapier, test trigger, and we should have the record ID. So this is a unique identifier for your record. We know what table it's coming from. So the next step naturally is like, okay, let's go get all the information. Let's go get the contact, the company, the order number, the fees, the contract email. Let's go and get that information into Zapier. So we're going to do find records. Oh, Airtable. Choose an event. We're going to find a record. I haven't done this in a while. I have to sign into Airtable? Woo! It's been a little while. Let me go ahead and I need my personal. Let's see if that's the right API key here. That seems to have worked. Great.
It's not a live stream, so you don't.
Tell me about it. What fun.
Well, why not? Why would you do it live if you?
I like to believe that about 50% of the people who come to the stream come to see me sweat. Especially, chat, confirm, let me know. Are you here for the learnings or just to see me kind of sweat on stream?
Just for the streamers on here, this isn't an OnlyFans stream, so Aaron's sweat is sure it's staying on here.
Okay, so we're going to Airtable. We need to go find the record of the record ID from step 1. Let's go into orders, right? So orders is that table where that record. Folks are here for the confetti. That's fair. That's true. That makes sense. We'll get there. Confetti's at the end. When we get that first PDF, we're going to get it. And the webhooks. Awesome. Okay. So we want to go to Airtable. We want to go to this record, and then we want to go ahead and find this record ID. So this is actually one step that I forgot to do, is need to have a field that we can search on, which we're going to call record ID. And we're just going to have the record ID pre-filled, right? So that's the field we're going to search on. So let's let me go ahead and redo this step. It's really hot here too, Steven, in my defense. So we're going to search record ID. Oh no. Let me just delete it. We'll redo it. The best way I found of refreshing when you've got a new field. I feel like after 10 years, Emre, I need to impress you of my Zapier speed. Find record.
You're blowing through this thing. I'm struggling.
Really? Okay. Well, anything I can go over again?
Well, no. I'm just giving you a hard time. You're doing great.
We want to go to Airtable contracting. That's our base. The table is going to be orders, and if all went well, we should have record ID here. And we want to search from that query string parameter, right? So let's go ahead and test that. And that's fine. Okay. So then it's returned the company record ID. This is actually a little bit of a worry for me. We have the fees. We have the contact. So this is actually something that's a little worrying to me. So when you have a linked record, it returns the record ID. So it's saying, hey, what you have in this is the record ID, right, of this record. So instead, let's make sure that we have each field as its own text variable. Does that make sense?
Talk to me about that a little bit.
If I look at Zapier, the way it understands this linked record, this contact value.
Mm-hmm. It's got an ID for that linked record.
What I want is the actual name. I don't want this template to say, I think you're record 8284 when your name is Aaron Kornblit, right?
That might be a little impersonal. Might result in the
contact. So what we want is the contact name. And because we already have it as a primary field, we can just say it's equal to contact, right? And that just gives you the name. Right? So we're going to do the same thing for every single linked record. So contact name and then company name. And let's go ahead and formula field, and we're just turning it into a string. So company, create field. There we go. And we're just turning those two linked records into strings. Now, if we run this again, we should have those as standalone fields. Contact name, contact company, right? So before we had the linked record, now we have the contact name. So yeah, let me know if that made sense. I know that this is one of the things I wanted to spend a moment on because I know it is tricky. When you're passing linked records, when Zapier looks at a linked record, it takes the value of the record ID. It takes the record ID, and instead of the value of the primary field. So you need to explicit the value of the primary field. Okay, so now we have all of the information that we can then send to Hellosign, right? So we have the order number, we have the contact name, the email, all that good stuff. So we can close this out. So now when it catches a hook, finds the record in Airtable, and then what we're going to go ahead and do is go to Hellosign. We want to send a signature request from template. Let's go to my only Hellosign account. Matthew, I'm going to get to your question a little later. The answer is yes. Yes, you can do it. Okay, so let me set this up and then I'll get to your question, which is a really good one. So we want to go ahead and take this template. I am not on an API paid plan. So I think this means that I'm testing. I'm on the paid plan of Hellosign for this stream. Okay, and then we fill out the information. So let's say contract from Stacksi. Please sign soon. Just a little passive aggressive, you know? And then the message, so this is a contract from Stacksi. I don't know why I put two I's. There you go.
You were just so
I'm so like
emphatic,
Stacksi.
so excited about it.
You know? There we go.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Title. So some of these, I'm going to have signature requests from NDA temp. So I don't know. So Stacksi contract. How many times do I need to write this contract? But okay, so there's some metadata. If you do want metadata around the signature, we're going to skip that, right? So you can have maybe a time of send, things like that you want to keep in Hellosign. But really, this is where we want to kind of fill out that template. So first there's this mandatory customer name. This is not from our mapping of fields. So we can just go into step 1, contact name. Okay, email address. This is who it's going to send that contract to. So we're going to pull in field contact email. And then the merge field. So this was our AP, kind of our field of order number. This is going to be this right here. So we want this to be order number. There we go. Fill that out. Customer name. Customer name is the name of the company. So it's company name in our mapping. Contact name. My stream is a click. I click. There's really nothing that hard here. Once you can figure it's a click stream.
The click stream.
Contact name. The fees. This is what you want to charge, that rich text field. Boom. And in contact name 2, is this the same variable once again? We want to go ahead and contact name. Boom. Okay. So this is essentially saying, okay, what do you want to put here? What do you want to put here? What do you want to put here? So we're just mapping our Airtable base, our Airtable record to the contract template. Making sense so far? Love it. Love it. Okay. So one last thing here. Right? So before we test this out, before I figure out if this worked or not, I do want to add another step here. So I'm going to skip test just for now. And one thing I'm sure you want to avoid is sending the same contract twice to the same person, right? So one of the downsides of creating this button is that once you click it, it's going to send the contract. So we want a way to know that once we've clicked this button, that there's a way to know in Airtable that, hey, we've clicked this button before, don't click it again, right? Does that make sense, Emery? I know I would be the type of person that goes into your base and just sends like 10 contracts to your most important clients for the 8th time, you know?
Right. Yeah. I don't think it's the time to get into it here, but I'm sitting here like, Okay, how do I need to make sure that all the requests being sent, all the information being sent is secure, that we're not getting people sending, hitting up our
Right.
webhooks with all
Totally.
sorts of fun stuff. Fun part about running a
Exactly.
security
So
company.
those are things I can fix this one problem for you, which is let's not call this checkbox. Let's say contract sent. Right? This is a checkbox that if it is checked, you know that it's sent. And what we can do as well is we can create an if contract sent, right? So if that is true, that means it's checked. Don't go anywhere if anyone clicks on the button. If it's not clicked, means we haven't sent the contract, go ahead and create that webhook. So if I've got this properly done, so if I've got it checked, I can't send the contract, right? If I have it unchecked, I can send the contract. So now all we need to do is once we do send the contract through Zapier, we need to check the box. So we're going to go ahead and update in Airtable. Update record. We're going to go into Airtable. Boom. And we're going to go into our contracting. We're going to go into our orders. We're going to go into our record. So this is the one we want a custom value. We want the value from step 1, right? It's going to go to that record. And what we want, I think if we put contract sent to 1, I don't know if it's true or 1. Let's go try it. So let me uncheck this. Okay, it's unchecked. Let me just test this one. Boom. So what this does, it says, okay, contract has been sent. You cannot click the send contract. Let's undo that. And let's go ahead and then run the Zap. There was a problem. I must confirm my email address. Okay. Oh, I can't turn them on. I haven't confirmed my email address in Zapier. 1 second, folks. Let me confirm my email address in Zapier. This is just building the excitement to see if the Zap works.
This is what we've all been waiting for, to be honest. This is the magic that needs to happen. We've got the Airtable base. We've got the Hellosign template. We've got Aron doing some Zapier magic with the 2 systems, and here this pesky security thing.
Let me refresh that.
That
should work.
Coming into play.
Oh no, I need to log in? My God. Okay, folks. Zapier is being difficult. Log in. This stream, really building the excitement today.
Not ideal for live streams, but probably a good thing if someone's sending order forms to your HelloSign that they make you verify this kind of stuff.
Let me see what my password is.
So, pain for Aron, excitement for us, just building up the tension to see, feel like this is a reality TV show where I'm like, well, Aron, get this done in time.
There, I'm back in.
Never know.
I'm back in, folks. I'm back in. Emery's got my back. Emery's got my back. He used to do this on sales calls when I was just a terrible salesperson and I was just, not doing a great job. He'd back me up. Okay, let's turn it on. Boom. I will copy the link. I'll send it to you guys later. Okay, so this is going to catch the hook, find the record in Airtable, send the signature, and update the record in Airtable. So if this works properly, this order form, I should receive it to my personal email. Let's test this out. Send contract. Okay, the webhook worked, right? So we know that that's working. Okay, and we've wow, okay, that was faster than I could see. So the contract's been sent. Send contract. Let me go ahead in Hellosign, check if we've received. People making me log into everything here. Okay, and then we have templates or documents. I should find somewhere here. Out for signature. Oh, I had something.
There you
go. Okay. let me go ahead and check my email. That should be where it is. Okay, let me go. Hide my email here. We had an error on the Zap. All right, folks. Oh, I have to upgrade to a pay. Okay, I know what this is. I fixed this before. Okay, there we go. So this is just a test. Here, I have to go, I think I have to say yes. And then I could test this. Oh no. Test mode equal 1. Let's go ahead and just put 1. There we go.
It looks like Hellosign wants you to pay to do the automation.
Okay, I just had to finagle it right here. So if we go to my emails, I should have a template here coming up. Let's try that one more time. Where is it? Oh, there we go. Just got it. Boom. Review and sign. This is a contract from Stacksi. Review and sign.
6 eyes.
Not legally binding because we're on the test account. Click to sign. Insert. So, boom. We have.
Yeah, but maybe don't say.
We have the. No, I trust you, Emre. I like your services. We've got the service fees. We've got the order number. We've got the customer, the contact details. You can kind of edit this to make it look a little more like whatever you need, right? But all of the other information is there, right? So with a little bit of work, we got it to work. So essentially this person, they're going to receive their contract. Boom, continue. I agree. And now we've signed the document. You can actually have a different redirect URL. Right now I have Hellosign. And that completes your signing. So I think with that, folks, I think that's a success, right? I think we can do success on that one.
I'd call that a win.
I definitely call that a win.
You did good by me. I mean, look, you took this Google Doc, and I can now fill in this form and automatically have the contract generated in Hellosign and sent to the customer without having to go and fill. I'll talk you through what I was doing before. I was taking that Google Doc and I was filling it in, and I was filling in the same fields 3 times. As you can see, you got contact, you got name, you got the same fields. I'm filling those pieces in, then I'm filling them again. And now I can just, let's say I had the same field 3 times, because, if we make sort of form a little more complicated, which it certainly could be, I filled in the same field 3 times, but in Airtable, I can just fill it in once. And I've got my little Aron signature CRM in Airtable. And, this is, if I'm doing this multiple times a day, you're saving me a few hours, a few hours a week.
And I do want to kind of talk a little bit about what the future is, right? So like this was what we did in an hour, but there's a few kind of additional things we can do. So the first is, once you go deeper into Hellosign, let me go into my account. There's integrations here. If you upgrade, and I'm sure once you're going to be sending contracts like 5-10 a day, it makes sense to upgrade and have a more robust. You can have a callback URL that says, okay, what is the status of this outgoing contract? Whenever there's a person that signs it, it can send you a callback, which you can import into Airtable, right? So you can have an incoming trigger, a webhook that updates the status of the contract, right? So that way, not only are you sending out that contract from Airtable, but you're also getting updates as to the status of that contract directly in Airtable based on that webhook. And the last point is that you're actually not going to need to input the information at the contract signing, because this could serve as your CRM, right? So let's say you kind of view this as not orders, but as like deal flow. You can add a status to each of these records. So let's say status, single select, oops. And we're going to end here as like, you can have, contracting or lead, contracting, closed. There you go. And let's say, I'm closed, and you can have like a Kanban view of your pipeline, right? So you can start managing your deals out of this. And when the contract is ready, when they're here, you can comfortably just kind of click that button, send contract, send it off to Zapier, sends the contract, and then updates come through Airtable. So that was our hour. Oh no, damn, the agenda. I'm gonna have to get used to it. Sorry, folks. So there's a automation, incoming webhook. Emre, have we automated all the things? We've automated some of the things.
Some of the things. I think we've got more things to automate, Aaron, but I'd call this an abject success.
Let's do one more confetti for that, just because it's been, this was fun. Okay, folks, that was it for this week. Really appreciate you all joining. I'll see you back next week, same time, same place. Really appreciate it. I'm going to share the template, the Zap, so you can build all of this at home. As always, really appreciate you joining. Really appreciate you coming out, supporting Automate All Things, and I'll see you back here next week for some more automations. Have a great week, y'all. Bye, y'all.